So once upon a time, business development was about charm. It was about who you knew, how fast you could follow up, and also how well you could read a room. But the room has changed. The buyers have changed. The speed of the game has changed. And now we're in a moment where AI isn't just showing up. It's basically rewriting the rules. So today's question that we're going to address is, will AI take all the jobs? It's what we become when we stop doing the parts we were never built for. So I'm Maria White, CEO of Enablement Dojo and co-founder of Good Morning Enablement. And today we're not just talking about tools or technology. We're talking about the shift in that. The shift that's happening right now is how we build, how we sell, and how we lead. And I'm very excited. Today, we have someone who's not just watching the change, but helping to lead it. And that is Gabe Lullo, the CEO of Alleyoop. Now, Gabe's team is on the front lines of what AI is enabling in the modern business development world. And today, we're pulling back the curtain and we're going to talk about what that really means. Gabe, welcome to Good Morning Enablement. Really excited to have you here. So tell us a little bit about Alleyoop first before we get into it. I really want people to know, what your organization and your team are doing.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Maria. By the way, a huge fan of yours. Love what you do for the community and our industry. And I'm super excited to be here. It's going to be a fun conversation. Yeah, so Alleyoop, we're one of the largest sales development agencies out there. We've been doing this for over 15 years. And we've been the founding SDR team, sales development reps, right? For those who are not understanding the acronym, for some of the biggest brands in the world. ZoomInfo came to us when they didn't have anything going on, and we built out their SDR function. Orem, SalesLoft, Outreach, all really cool brands that started with us in its infancy stage. And we run those SDR teams for them. We do the hard work, we like to say, which is prospecting, a lot of emails, a lot of cold calling, content creation, and getting people's attention, which, as you mentioned, in today's day and age is more challenging and need to be more creative than ever before. And that's what we do.
That's fantastic. And so, you're here with us to talk about this, the AI, but I want to start with, not with the tech, but with the tension.
Sure.
So what are you seeing right now in the market, in the teams, in the leadership? You're working with tons of them in large organizations. So what are you seeing in the teams, in the market, in the leadership when it comes to navigating AI like now in the moment?
Well, it's interesting. Ingram Micro and SoFi just recently became clients of ours. And these are billion-dollar brands. And then we have 3 guys in an idea that just launched their new startup. And when you look at those 2 very different types of businesses and sizes, they still have the same problem, which is, how do we generate more leads, higher quality leads, and how do I get in front of the right people at the right time? And right now we're finding that the ways to do that is really old school ways is new again. A lot of people, focused for the last handful of years strategically on email and email, automation, personalization, and sending a lot of emails to a lot of inboxes. But that's becoming more and more difficult and next to impossible, really, to stand out from the noise.
Yeah.
So we're focusing on cold calling, literally picking up the phone and making a call. We do 11 million cold calls a year.
Wow.
Content creation and being a thought leader and helping founder-led sales companies become a face of their brand. And then, of course, following that up with an outbound effort. So those are the things that we're doing that we've always done, but most companies have gotten away from, and they're trying to get that back into their into their sales function, and that's what we focus on.
Understood. And so, if we look at it from the human to the AI, I like you said the term old school or back to basics. I think you said old school.
Yeah.
Doing
old
what
school
was
is new
done.
school again. Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day. So the AI part of it with the BDRs, I'm making an assumption. Please, correct me if I'm wrong. It's like all of that email workflow that's automated. Some of the prompts or the follow-ups are automated, but the piece of the flow that still needs to be done, the humans, what do the humans focus on? You said old school, which means it hasn't actually changed that much. Just the automation piece has changed quite a lot, right?
Yeah. So, Henry Schuck's the CEO of ZoomInfo, and he said this on a podcast recently. Listen, If you're an SDR and you're just putting people into email sequences, your days are numbered, or you're going to be literally fired by the end of the year, right? That is being replaced 100% by AI without a question. And
Yeah.
so just making $100,000 a year as a, sales development rep, putting people in email sequences is just not what's going to be happening anytime soon. And companies are downsizing that function and replacing it with AI and tech to do that. But what isn't being replaced by AI right now, or at least not in a way that is capable or sophisticated, especially when you're in the B2B world, talking about very sophisticated deals, large, annual contract values, is that human to human communication. And
Yeah.
so in our world, we're seeing sales development reps have more business acumen, be significantly more leveled up, be sophisticated in regards to their communication skills. And it's not what it used to be, where junior reps out of college or former bartenders like myself could just pick up a phone and start booking appointments without any training at all. So that's what we're really seeing. But AI is making a significant shift, and we use it dramatically. But at the end of the day, where the rubber meets the road, those conversations is what's really resonating with buyers right now.
That makes perfect sense, because it is funny how people nowadays think about AI being this like cold technical thing. But in reality, when it's used right in the right context for the right workflows or situations, to your point that you said, it is giving us more room to be human and focus on that things that really does move the needle. So when you see the organizations that use AI in the right way, to your point, it is affording them time to develop their reps in a different way. Back in the day, I ran BDRs and inside sales, and you're right, the level of acumen was completely different. If you were looking at the bank criteria or whatever, the SDRs were just picking up the phone and booking meetings. The ISRs or the inside sales reps were qualifying them, and then it was being handed off to like an AE, an account manager. So what I'm hearing you say, with the use of removing some of those redundant tasks from the SDR now, for example, that you're being able to elevate them to get super qualified information to that account manager. So is that what you're seeing now? Is that where that real shift is coming? Is the SDR community is really leveling up? I mean, in your words, please. Is that what's truly happening?
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, it was just spray and pray, to your point, how your old team was set up, right?
Yeah.
If you could put a mirror underneath their nose and it fogs up, great, we have a lead, let's call them, right? That was qualification.
Yeah.
Now it's very strategic. We're not saying call thousands of people across, the whole entire total addressable market. But AI is allowing us to research and know who to call, when to call, how to call, what messages should we say. Even in the AE side of the world, right? Going into a demo, knowing exactly what to talk about, because you use AI to research that person, more importantly, right? The company, and solving their problems. There's AI tools that are recording all of the calls that we're doing and then giving really detailed notes. So when the AEs are going into those calls, they have everything they need autonomously so they can be prepared to go on that call. We have a tool right now where they're actually giving live cue cards on cold calls. So when something is said on a call, it pops up a battle card in front of the SDR's face, and they could go ahead and say, okay, hit this one, hit this one, hit this one. And it generates interest and creates opportunity. So becoming more equipped and more skilled, like I mentioned, from a training perspective, AI is incredible. And my last point on this is, we have AI role play scenarios, right? It's like hopping on the treadmill 10 minutes before you go lift weights, right? You got to get your blood going. Well, similarly here, our jumping jacks in the morning is hopping on an AI role play and try to beat the AI bot over the phone to get warmed up to go out and talk to the real prospects every single day. So those are ways that we're using it, and it's really been impactful.
That's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about what I'm hearing you say is AI is not necessarily going to take away their jobs, but if they're reliant on just the spray and pray method, using your words, like sending a lot of emails and so that's not going to work. But if we look future facing into the horizon, where is this going, with AI and business development, or maybe just work in general, if you have a point of view on it? Well, let's not go too far out. Let's go out because it's really fast now with everything that's happening. 3 years out. what do you believe the SDR community or how they're going to show up is going to work? Is AI going to take that out, or is it still going to be the human is super important in these targeted conversations?
Yeah, exactly. So I think here's what's going to happen. I don't think AI is going to completely wipe out the SDR function, but I think people who know how to use AI will completely wipe out the existing SDRs we have today who don't know how to use AI. I think that's what we're going to be walking into. It's truly a co-pilot right now. You know what I mean? There may be a day where you, AI Maria, the AI version of you and the AI version of me is doing this podcast right now, and we're on the beach, drinking Mai Tais. Like we would maybe living in that world, but a cold call or a phone call is no different than a Zoom call. Like we're in this world where we all live on Zoom these days, but in reality, that isn't different than a phone call. It's a phone call. It's just we see the person. So are we replacing demos and account executives with AI fully? No one's really saying that much. So we are just using that first initial call to really gauge interest, to find out the problem, understand the nuance. And we haven't found AI from a phone call perspective yet to come in and completely disrupt that. Email, for sure. Research, for sure. Admin task, RevOps, ICP understanding and lookups, for sure. But we haven't seen an AI tool yet come in and completely replace what a human can do in a sophisticated phone call to qualify a prospect.
Yes, and I couldn't agree more. And I agree with your sentiment. What I was, as you were giving this information, what I was thinking or reminded of was, people still get fired for making a wrong technology decision. That still happens 100%. In our world today. So, that would be curious to say I bought it off, a bot online and then still have that output. So, no, I hear you. People buy from people, and there's always going to be that human connectivity, in my humble opinion, needed by organizations. Certainly for the next 3 years. Beyond that, I don't know yet. We'll have to see, where it starts to land. It feels like we're being asked to do one thing we've always said that we wanted, which is to work smarter. Yeah. That's what everyone has said for 10, 15 years before the birth of the explosion of AI. Work smarter, not just faster, not just harder, work smarter. Yeah. But what you're saying is with the combination of Copilot and AI, and please, add to that, expand, with AI and the BDRs or the SDRs, whichever terminology people are familiar with, they're going to work smarter, but with intention. And I think that's the big thing. They're working with intention because it's specific, it's targeted. They are making sure that they're picking up the phone and giving business insight to that person to solve a business problem at that early stage. That's what I think that you're saying here.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Empathy is very, very, very important. Being empathetic in a conversation, and that hasn't been able to be figured out yet with AI. Listen, I'm a huge fan of it. Am I going to fire the 110 SDRs on my sales floor tomorrow? 100% no, because frankly, we haven't been able to see a tool. No, we have AI companies as clients that we're booking meetings for via cold call from humans for their AI company. And so the reality is like, yes, it is absolutely an amazing thing. And it's happened before. Maybe it's not as advanced and not as elaborate, but I remember 10, 15 years ago when, Pardot and Marketo came out and said, oh my God, marketing automation, this is amazing. And we're going to fire all of our SDRs and everyone's just going to get emails and everyone's just going to buy things off of emails and we don't need reps anymore. And what happened is they literally did that. And then they started hiring everyone back because it didn't do what they thought it was going to be. But here's what's interesting. Every single SDR today uses marketing automation in their tech stack. So that is how I look at this as a way to, it's going to shake things up. Yeah, it's going to help and enable. And maybe one day it'll completely rip and replace, but we're really not there yet.
That is really a good summation of the topic of today's, podcast. So for everyone out there, if you're watching this and feeling overwhelmed by the pace of change, just pause, breathe, because this isn't about becoming a machine. It's about becoming more of what you already are based on what Gabe has shared with us, and I concur with. a thinker, a builder, and a connector. And maybe, just maybe, with the right tools, just a little bit more free to do what matters the most. Gabe, you have been a fantastic guest, and I want to thank you so very much for bringing your clarity, wisdom, and conviction to this space for our viewers, and for being one of the voices reminding us that the future isn't scary. You said it as an opportunity. I'm just going to say it's full of potential and opportunity. And if this conversation sparks something in you, make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, share it with someone navigating this same shift right now. And obviously reach out, please, if you want to hear more, to Gabe at his organization. We'll leave the links in the description. So here we are. We're not just watching the future happen. We're basically creating it together. And that's it. That wraps up our session. Thank you so very much. And we look forward to definitely speaking to you again, Gabe. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of our wonderful subscribers and viewers who support the channel.
Thank you.
Thanks.